Nintendo 64 was sadly lacking in 2D games, and the Homebrew community decided to jump in and save the day. I am the Game Collector, and this is Second Opinion Games. And today I do the review of Super Mario Bros. 64.
Second Opinion Games.
From the very start of this game, you know you're into something special. It has a very classic Mario Brothers feel, only this time around you could pick from the different levels of difficulty. Easy, medium, hard, or straight up unfair. And if you look really close, you'll see names attached to each one. In easy mode, you play as Waluigi, and I think this is where we will start our journey. Now, Waluigi can jump extremely high, and he can take a few more hits than the other guys, as long as he has a magic mushroom to grow a little bit bigger to earn those hits. And right off the start, you're gonna think that this is just a total remake of Super Mario Bros. 1, only now in a 2D world. Well, maybe 2.5D is a little bit more accurate, but you know what? It does look pretty cool in this scenario. Fireballs are still here, however, there is no fire flower. You just have to pick up a second magic mushroom without getting hit so many times that you revert to being small Mario all over again. And these things are really overpowered. They shoot across the screen lightning fast and they can just destroy enemies. But don't feel too overconfident, because chances are you will fall into a pit right away and lose them. So use them while you got them. After all, they do make the game quite a bit more fun, and if you can hold on to them long enough, well, then you can feel like a dominating beast. Also, you could get hit plenty more times before you completely lose his power-up, at least on easy. As we start clearing levels, you'll probably notice the music is definitely Super Mario Bros. 1 style. After all, there is only about 4 different songs in the entire game, just like in Mario Bros. 1. They just happen to be so darn good that you don't notice. However, in this game, something seems a little bit off about them, and it's not just the melody. Sometimes there's some slightly glitchy artifacts thrown in there, and this is to be expected from a homebrew game without the full-on polish of a real released Nintendo 64 game, which is quite a shame because it slightly takes me out of the game, but it's not so bad that I have to stop playing altogether. So we finally make it to Bowser's Castle, and I was wondering how he would be in this game. Well, he is a full-on attack dog. He starts firing fireballs at you way off the screen, just like in the original Super Mario Bros. Game. And when you get close to him, he goes on the freaking attack, and he doesn't just stay within his boundary. No, he goes above and beyond. If you could use this just right, you could get right past him and then save the day. However, there's no Toad here or even Golden Axe, unfortunately, because they couldn't add that slightly different melody in. Instead, you just pick up the star and move on to the next world. Yeah, there's stars at the end of every level instead of a flagpole. It's also very disappointing, but you know, it was probably made by like one guy in his basement, so I can appreciate it nonetheless. Now let's jump into our first water level, and you might notice that it moves really freaking fast. If I had fireballs here, this level would be a pushover, but instead it's just tedious. It's really hard to control your character because of how fast you move and how enemies just swarm all around you. You also can't jump out of the water just like in the original Super Mario Bros. Game, so you can't cheat the system by continuously jumping across the top. Instead, you're sort of forced to play by the game's own rules. I hate it when I can't break the rules. And eventually you will get through this level and then move to one of the most vicious and painful worlds in all of this game. Level 2-3 with the flying fish. Now they will come out at nearly every angle. At this point in time, I want to draw attention to the bottom portion of the screen where it says it's a par 4. Yeah, you should be able to clear this game in just 4 lives. Each of the levels before actually says par, so you know whether or not you're doing really well based on how many lives you lose before you clear the level. And you might be happy to know that there is infinite lives here. And seeing that this is a par 4, you might think that you could clear it in, what, like 4 lives? Well, how about 10? Or 15? Or 20? 25? 30. This is freaking just unfair at this point. These fish just come out of nowhere, and because you can't make it to a mushroom fast enough and there's one-hit kills even on easy before you get to that mushroom, you are just gonna die and die again. This is one of the most frustrating levels I think I've ever played in my life, and oh my god, I finally cleared it at 39 deaths. I guess this par 4 is more like a par freaking 40. So I go into level 3-1, and you'll be happy to know that the Hammer Brothers are here. And I think I might as well just take them out the old-fashioned way of smashing them from the block underneath. And it doesn't work at all. Yeah, the Hammer Brother just seems to levitate over the blocks, meaning you either have to take these guys out with fireballs or ignore them altogether, or luckily just jump on their head and take them out. So, yeah, that's pretty difficult. Also, there is a spring right beside them, so you might think that, yeah, you could just run and jump away as fast as possible. And keep in mind, you have to do the butt-pounding stomp attack in order to hit the spring, in order to jump up really high. This whole sequence is actually rather tricky, so you kind of want to do it without the added distraction of the Hammer Brothers themselves. But eventually, you will clear this level if you're absolutely lucky. Now, when I did clear the level, I managed to make to level 3-2, which then I fell into a pit and locked up the game. At this point, I did notice that I could zoom in the camera a little bit in and out. However, I tried it during actual gameplay, hitting the same buttons, and it did absolutely nothing. So this is definitely some type of glitch. So I might as well try out some of the other characters. Luigi is normal mode. He doesn't have so many hits, at least after getting that magic mushroom. Otherwise, it's just one-hit kills for everybody. And he does jump a little bit shorter. Overall, the game here is kind of nice as Luigi, and I appreciate for what it is. But because it felt so much like Waluigi, I just wanted to move on and try something different. So I jumped into unfair mode to play as Wario. And holy crap, is this ever hard. Wario is so darn fat that he barely jumps at all, meaning every single jump is just a test of your overall skills. Now, I probably could play through and beat this whole game with Wario if the game doesn't lock up on me, but why would I want to punish myself like that? Also, here's where I most notably notice that it always has Mario sound effects, which takes me out of the game just a little bit. So I figure I might as well give Mario a try. And I gotta say, I think playing with Mario is just awesome. Now, it might be just because I've fully gotten used to this game by now, or maybe it's because his jump feels a little bit more natural and what I am used to, but it does feel like it controls a lot better as Mario. Maybe the playtesters actually played as Mario and just pissed around and added the other characters in. I don't know. Everything just seems a little bit more natural here in general. There is still some music glitching going on in the background, and this time when I made it to that flying fish level that I had a miserable time at before, well, I cleared it with 0 deaths. Yeah, I am pretty much the boss at this game by this point. However, all still not good, as I fell into another pit short while later, and it locked up the game all over again. Now, this is where I just decided to stop recording and start playing just for fun, and I did fall in pits other times on other playthroughs, and it kept on locking up, like, every time. I've never made it to the end of this game because it always locks up. Level 3-2 is the farthest I've gotten, so I honestly don't know how long the game goes for. I know there are no warps in this game, so that's one thing. I think there are only 4 worlds here, and that's to be expected because it might be made just by one guy, like mentioned earlier, and the game itself can be tracked down for as little as $25, and I have seen it sell for quite a bit more. The actual card itself, as you can see in the screen title here, is pretty cool. It's red with these gold flakes spread throughout, and I am playing on my official Nintendo 64. However, it does require the expansion pack just to run. Maybe the expansion pack is the reason why it crashes so often as well. Now the music here is good, the controls are tight, and I do like the fact that you have 4 levels of difficulty here. And if you could track down this game for a good price, well, I strongly recommend you do, even with all the glitches. After all, the Nintendo 64 doesn't have very many 2D platforming games, if any at all. And I gotta say, this is probably the best one of them. But that's just my opinion. Thanks for watching. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this review. I had a great time making it, even if I did die a lot. Like, way too stinking much. And I want to know about other homebrew games for the Nintendo 64 that I should cover in the future. After all, not many people seem to be paying attention to homebrew on the Nintendo 64. You'd think this community would be going nuts, like non-stop. So please, I want to hear all your comments and leave me some messages. And this is just a great game to play and to truly experience, even with the glitches. So until later, I will see you again, guys.